So I'm going to start. Awesome. So I'm going to start with reading the Indigenous Land Use Statement. We acknowledge the land which we occupy today as a traditional home of the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok tribal nations. These sovereign people have been the caretakers of this land since the time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok continue as vibrant and resilient tribes and bands, both federally recognized and unrecognized. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the generations that have gone before, as well as the present day Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok people. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order at 10:32. And Brett, if you can please call roll call.
Thank you. Acting Chair Silvia Garcia.
Present.
Present. VP Espinosa. Absent. Director of Finance Wynn.
Present.
Present. Thank you. Legislative Analyst Perlotte Birch.
Present.
Present. Senator Ng.
Present.
Present. K-Rep Mark Sheppard.
Present.
Present. Director of Public Relations Love. Absent. And Senator Gorman had an excused absence. President Burrows let us know. So with that, we have 6 out of 9 members present, so quorum has been met.
Awesome, thank you, Brett. We'll go ahead and move to the adoption of the agenda. I'm pretty sure Brett has shared the agenda in the chat, so hopefully you guys got a chance to take a look at that. And if there's no objections, then we can adopt the agenda with consent. Awesome, hearing seeing none, we're going to go ahead and adopt today's agenda. We're going to go ahead and move on to approval of the minutes. Brett has shared the minutes in the chat from last week's, and I think we're going to table the February 28th, correct, Brett? Awesome. So hopefully you guys got a chance to look at those. Is there any objections on approving last week's Senate meeting minutes? Awesome. Seeing, hearing none, the minutes from last week have been approved. Chair's message, just hello everyone, happy Friday. Thank you so much for allowing me to, chair this meeting. I was gone last week for a conference, so have a lot to share later on, but hopefully you guys are having a great week, and I'll go ahead and pass it to our advisor, Brett.
All right, thank you, Sylvia, and thanks for filling in today. It's nice to see folks get this opportunity to do this. As Angie can tell you, as Sylvia is experiencing, it can be nerve-wracking. Mark's been doing it for a while now, so thank you for filling in. Okay, so a couple of announcements. I'm going to try to be brief today. I'm going to start with the good news and then end with some unfortunate news. So, hi, happy Friday. Elections are currently available for students to run, petition for, although they don't even have to petition because we waived that process. So they just really need to fill out the Google form. That is now on the front of the ARC website. It's on your student government website. It's on Instagram. I'm going to talk to a few classes next week in person about running for office. And my big ask, as I mentioned last week, I need your help. I'm not the cool hip person anymore. I still struggle on Discord. So I need your help promoting these, whether that's a formal classroom presentation, putting it on Instagram, Discord. I can get you all the materials, talking about your experience. This board has had a different experience than the traditional student leader. So I would encourage you all to share that. and really kind of shoulder tapping and nudging students that are going to be here next year to really consider running for office. So I thank you in advance. Let's see, and then I'm going to highlight a student here. They know this is coming. Brianna Wynn received some pretty incredible awards this week. I can't even keep track of all of them, so I might even just put Brianna on the spot here, but they won one of the Phi Theta Kappa National Awards. Brianna, I'm going to let you brag about yourself because it's always good to do that. So the floor is yours for a minute if you want to hop in here and kind of share with the board what you've experienced this week.
Sure. So I was one of 20 students nationwide selected for the All USA academic team, which is cool because I get to be flown out for a trip to New York to receive the award on May 2nd. And then in addition to that, I found out that I was also selected as the New Century Transfer Pathway Scholar, meaning that in addition to being top 20 in the nation, I scored the highest in California. So yeah, those came with some nice scholarships to help pay for school and everything. So thanks, Brett.
It's pretty rad to hear. You know, I want to celebrate all of your successes. So when you get these kind of news, please share that with me so that I can share it with everyone. Or in your board member reports, you know, brag about yourself, right? I know you're all working hard. So it's great to hear. So Brianna, congratulations to you and to your family. That's awesome. We have two guests here that are on the agenda. So when we get to those items, they can have their formal kind of, you know, introduction in their ask, but I do like to welcome guests while they're here. So shout out to Vivian, who went to the second greatest school in the world when I went there. We're fellow UCSB Gauchos. So yeah, it's
Cat too.
Oh, Cat as well. Wow, we have 3 Gauchos on the call. Wow, this is history right here. So we go way back, but welcome to both of you. And then Ashlee Green is going to speak to you all later. I had the pleasure of meeting with her last week. So I just wanted to say hi and introduce you all formally. And you'll have your moment in the sun here in a few. And then there's no way to pivot to this, but I'm sure you all saw the chancellor's email that went out yesterday about the incidents that's been happening at American River College this last week or so. And I'll be transparent, I don't know all the details. I don't have that context yet. So if you have questions, I might not be able to answer them, but a former student called our president, Melanie Dixon, and left racist, death threats type messages to our president. Obviously, 400 years of this still happening. Unfortunately, we don't live in a post-racial society where everything is perfect. It's sad, it's frustrating, it's angry. It's a lot of emotions. It's been a tough week for a lot of folks at ARC. If you're just finding out about this, I deeply apologize, and I'm the one breaking this news to you. But it's impacted obviously students at ARC, who you all represent, obviously our president, but also staff and faculty. So there's going to be a kind of a town hall event on Monday evening. I don't have all the details yet. I believe it's 5 to 7. I don't have the Zoom link yet. The moment I get it, I will pass it on to this board. I know it's short notice, but if you have the time, I would encourage you as student leaders to attend that. They need to hear from students, especially student leaders. And I don't have the details of the student and whatnot, but there is a restraining order against the students, so they are not allowed on any Los Rios campus. So if you are on ground or you work on ground, there's that at least kind of level of peace of mind, but really there is no peace of mind, especially if you're Black or African-American, biracial. That doesn't probably help folks too much, but I've spoke on this in other meetings. I'll just say that we're thinking about our colleagues and our students that are experiencing this trauma yet again. And we're going to be there for them. So I can't speak for this board. I can only speak for myself, but there's going to be more to come in the following days. And I encourage you all to be engaged in those conversations or activities that happen on campus or virtually. So I'm really sorry I have to end with that bummer news. There's no way to pivot or transition, and I apologize for that. But yeah, just a heavy week. So with that, Silvia, I graciously turn it back to you, and thank you.
No, thank you so much, Brett. I think it's really important, that we're aware of what's happening in our campus, especially as student leaders. So thank you. We'll move on to public comment. So this time is reserved for members of the public to address ASB Senate on the issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact ASB Senate President for the items of discussion to be placed on future agenda. So do we have any public comment at this moment? All right, hearing, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to appointments and swearing in. And at this time, I don't think there are any appointments or swearing in. So we'll go ahead and move on to new business. Item 10.1 ARC work experience and internship program. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to discuss 10.1 ARC work experience and internship program.
Awesome. Motion has made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Awesome. Second by Director Hugh. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Brianna. We can go ahead and pass it along to our guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this group, to connect and to be in this space. I want to also acknowledge Stacy Burrows, who made the initial connection and invited us to present. Would it be possible for us to get sharing privileges? We brought a PowerPoint. I'm a visual learner. I always do better that way. Is that okay?
Yeah, please stand by. I'll access that for you.
Thank you. And I think Kat needs the permission, correct, Kat?
Yeah, I just put that in the chat.
Okay, thank you. I want to be mindful of time, so maybe while we're getting that done, I could take this time to introduce myself. So my name is Vivian Dillon. I am the faculty coordinator of work experience. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Kat and I were talking about trying to keep this presentation within the 30-minute time frame, but also acknowledge just the opportunity to connect with students. So we thought we'd give little quick bios. I always find it helpful and interesting when I hear something a little personal about the speaker and see if I can resonate with them. So as Brett mentioned, I am a gaucho, as is Brett and Kat. But I also went to San Bernardino Valley College for a year. After I graduated from UC Santa Barbara, I wanted to go to graduate school, and I needed quite a few classes because I wasn't clear on my career path at that point. So I am a community college former student. And my background, I have a master's in counseling with an emphasis in college counseling and student services, as well as an additional second major, if you will, in career development. So that's a little bit about me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Pohlman. I also go by Kat, so whatever you're more comfortable with. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I was talking to Vivian about what in the world I could possibly share. I'm not the best at figuring out the short little bios to share, but I will say that I was a first-generation college student. So I was navigating my educational and also professional journey pretty independently, trying to figure it out all on my own. I would have loved to have had the time or opportunity to have an internship in college, but that just wasn't on my journey. I needed at the time to work, and I needed the paycheck. And so I had very limited time to have an internship, but that's why I'm so excited to be part of the work experience program, because I can advocate for students who had a similar journey to myself, as well as others, knowing that there are lots of requirements that people have and lots of needs, whether that means you need something paid, or you need something close by, or you need something where you don't have to provide your own transportation. I completely understand all of those factors. So that's one reason why I wanted to join the program and why I feel so fortunate to be here. So that's a little about me. And it looks like I still it looks like I am the host now, so I may be able to share my screen. Thank you so much. And I just press share, and it should be in presentation mode. Does everyone see that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Kat, before
Awesome.
we start, I'm sorry. When we're done, don't leave yet, because you're technically the host. So you got to give it back. You got to give it back to the ASB account. So just before you leave.
Sure. Thank you for the reminder, because I may have done that.
It's technology, right? Thanks for that. So I wanted to just kind of ground a little bit our presentation. I think part of why Stacy reached out to us is because it's Internship Info Month. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but that's kind of part of the reason or the interest, I think, in having us here. So we will get into kind of what the program is, what we offer students. We will touch on Internship Info Month, and also, if we have time, the relatively new career internship platform called Handshake. So it's kind of an overview of what we're going to be talking to you all about. So Work Experience is an instructional program here at ARC. It's actually at all 4 of the sister colleges, just to give you a sense. It combines the students, what they do out in the field. So basically their classroom is the workplace. That could be virtual, remote, it could be brick and mortar. It can be a variety of different things, and we'll talk about that more. The real focus of the instructors, again, it's an instructional program, is to help students reflect, enhance, develop any workplace skills and knowledge that they may be interested in. So it's really student driven. It's pretty customizable, which is one of the really exciting things I think there is about the program. And lastly, one of the large emphasis is on supporting the student with self and career understanding. That can include a variety of things like, what does conflict management looks like? What does communication look like in the workplace? So it's kind of a really high level overview of what work experience is. Next slide. This is a real concrete example of kind of the impact that work experience, the course, the program can have on students. In 2022, there's an organization called NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And what they do is they survey employers from a variety of different industries. And again, this is nationally, about what they're looking for in new hires. It may be entry level, it may not be. And you can see from the graph that most are general workplace skills like problem solving, ability to work in a team, communication, and initiative. And this is really a big piece that grounds work experience. The other piece that I think is really interesting is that what the industry kind of calls hard skills, or like measurable abilities, like quantitative skills and technical skills, they're in there, but there's only 2 of them. And actually technical skills is number 7 on the list, if you can see that. So I think this speaks to the importance of work experience, sharing that type of information with students and really highlighting the skill sets that they may already have, but also to giving them the language and the opportunity to articulate that as they go through the course. Next slide, please. This is another example of the impact that work experience has. Again, this is national data from the same organization. And when employers were surveyed, if they were looking at equally qualified candidates and they were trying to discern kind of what were the factors in terms of why they would go with one candidate versus the other, The top two reasons is either they completed an internship with the organization, and the second one is that they have had an internship experience in just the general industry. So what we're seeing from the employer's perspective is that what they really value highly is the actual applied or experiential background that some of the candidates come. And I also want to just highlight for this group in particular is also employers are looking as if they've had a leadership experience. And I just can't think of a perfect example would be what you all are doing here, right? And if you notice, that actually is generally more higher rated than a high GPA. So again, this type of information, because yes, we want you to excel at school, and yes, we want you to do amazing, but most of us, we're not going to do school forever. At some point, we have to graduate and enter the workplace. And I think that's really an important piece that this program provides for our students, whether they're for transfer, whether they're AAAS, or whether they're certificate, whatever their goal is. I think this information is hugely valuable. Next slide, I think, is this you, Kat, or is this me?
Either way, I could start and then you could add on if you'd like.
Perfect.
Okay, so what is work experience? When it relates to the class especially, but of course, just generally speaking, it can be anything from a paid full-time or part-time job that you may have. It could be, of course, an internship, but also volunteer opportunities. So anything that's really getting you some experience to build those employability skills, but then also potentially those harder technical skills in the field that you want to pursue. So we have some examples here. We just had Kaiser Roseville present with Internship Info Month. And I also want to expand on the volunteer element. It could also include anything that you do just in your personal life with extracurricular activities, whether that be like a religious organization that you participate in, or like we have students who work with local homeless shelters or animal shelters, and all of that counts when it comes to building out your resume and the types of information that employers want to see. So definitely don't discount or discredit any type of work experience that you have. It all builds out your profile. Do you want to add anything, Vivian, to that?
No, I think you did a great job.
Okay, thank you. All right, so moving on to what is an internship. Vivian, also feel free to chime in here. But essentially, an internship is a way to on this slide, we have a physical bridge, but it's a way for you to bridge your education, what you're learning in your classes, what you're developing with all of your coursework and your school projects, to the career that you'd like to have. What else can I add here? Vivian, do you want to expand?
Sure. We hear a lot from students. It's one thing to read about a concept. It's one thing to even, be tested on a concept. It's a whole other experience to actually apply it out, maybe without a book, without a support in terms of like an instructor right there, right? And so it's really, I think, solidifies for students those skill sets and that knowledge that they have, but also maybe things that they need to work on too in terms of actually applying it, right? Like, again, communication and some basic skills. So we hear consistently from students, sometimes it's, wow, it's better than what I thought, or it's not quite what I thought it would be like, or I'm not sure what I think about this. So there's a lot of self-reflection, I think, when students get to the actual experiential or doing part. So I think that's really a big component of an internship. And then the other thing I would say is the supervision at the work site. That's a big component of what an internship is. And that's how we advocate for students when we're working with employers, to ensure that there is appropriate experienced supervision there, so that really can be your guide, the student's mentor, and where they lean on if there's questions. So that's another big piece about an internship, is students aren't expected to be expert or fully know about all of the job duties. It really is grounded in the idea that it's a learning experience for the student out in the workplace, or virtually, I should say. Now my language needs to change. Thanks, Kat. I can take this one, Kat, give you a break. So why students do it? I think part of this is a bit intuitive about why they might intern. Again, it's that personal development. It's really dipping their toe maybe in an industry or in a field. It can be just purely networking in terms of wanting to learn from professionals. We hear that a lot, like with Kaiser Roseville. There were a lot of people who are pre-health, pre-nursing, who think that they might want to go into that industry. But as the speaker shared, it's one thing to know you're working with sick people or maybe people who are at their best. And it's a whole nother to know what that actual experience and to be in it yourself. People do it to also build their resume. Again, confidence, learn how to teamwork, a variety of reasons that students engage. I think they're all relevant, whatever the student's looking to get out of the experience. And the program really tries to make sure that the student's experience is beneficial. It's contributes to their growth and their journey. Also that they're safe and they have support there, whether it be the instructor, the program, or all the other supports that the college provides. Thanks, Kat.
I want to add another example just to, I guess, build like a big picture of internships and what they can provide. I know at ARC, there can be a lot of non-traditional students. So sometimes I'm working with students who have been in the workforce for 20 years or more. And so they're really well versed on working employability skills, but they might be coming back to school to reskill or to change career paths. So some of the students that I work with are looking for internships to gain experience in their new industry that they didn't get a chance to explore in an earlier phase of their life. So maybe now they're trying to build their passion of like a photography business or something like that. So they're looking for an internship in photography. So there are a lot of reasons why students choose to engage in an internship. And I just wanted to add that extra example for you.
I appreciate that, Kat. And even more so with COVID, right? We're hearing more and more from employers that what you all are doing here, right? The ability to work remotely, be self-motivated, time management. The workplace is always shifting. The workforce is always shifting and changing. So that's a great point you're making, Kat. Thank you. We touched on this, I think, throughout kind of the previous slides that we talked about. Again, it's an educational program where students can earn college credit for their actual applied work experience, again, whether it's volunteering, an internship, or actually paid work. So it is a course that appears on students' transcripts. It's a letter grade bearing course. So students also can, most of our students excel. And in addition, it's part of the AAAS degree pattern of area 3B living skills. So it contributes to that as well. So there's a lot of different facets in where this experience, this program can benefit students. Kat mentioned the guidance and kind of gave a great example of the support she provides to students that she works directly one-on-one with. And again, at the heart of it is an educational experience. Our goal is to really have the learning at the center and to provide ensure as much as we can, we're working with employers that it's a safe environment and then it's for the benefit of the student. Here's a variety of, is this your slide or my slide, Kat? Sorry.
That's okay. I can start it off, but there is a lot of benefits that come along with participating in the work experience program. So earlier, before the presentation started, we mentioned Handshake, which is a newer online platform that all Los Rios students have access to. It doesn't matter which campus you're attending, and you already have a free account created for you with just some basic preliminary information. So you can get started very easily, and you just need your single sign-on login credentials in order to access that account. It's a great place to explore opportunities, explore employers, but also there's added benefits of seeing all the events that are hosted throughout the Los Rios campuses related to career development, including Internship Information Month or Information Week, as well as networking with other students, and that can include students from across the nation. It is a nationwide platform, and it does include international opportunities sometimes as well. We also, the work experience program hosts events. So that might be a month-long period of events, but it could also just be like one-off workshops where we go into resume development, or we could talk about interview practice, things like that. Additionally, I work with students one-on-one when it comes to reviewing resumes and cover letters. I am by no means an industry expert in every field, but what I'm here for is just kind of like those general guidelines or recommendations that I can make when it comes to formatting or grammar or language, and really just brainstorming how you can take all of the experience that you have, again, whether it's paid, unpaid, a student leadership position, something that you do as a hobby or just extracurricular. How can you take all of that and package it into these very short, concise documents in a way that's compelling enough to get the employer to invite you in for an interview? So that's something that I help students with in addition to interview practice. And that interview practice can be really nice, again, especially now that COVID has opened up the world into a more remote functioning type of environment. A lot of students haven't had experience interviewing by phone or Skype or Zoom. So it can just be a way to kind of get those nerves out before you have to go do it for real. And then there are some industries where it can be challenging to find internship opportunities. So I work with students on trying to creatively find those ways into the organization or the industry. For example, right now I'm working with a student who is trying to obtain I believe it's a biomedical technician certificate, if I have that right. And that's very specific. There are a lot of opportunities, internship opportunities for that specific certificate. But what I'm doing is trying to kind of like open up his mindset about where he can work, and then we can start investigating ways into the industry from there. And then, of course, we can talk about the work experience class. There's a lot of detailed elements. We'll go into some of the requirements a little bit later in this presentation. But if you just want that one-on-one time to go into all of the details, we could talk about it then too. And I know that we wanted to open this up so I could show the work experience classes and where to enroll, but just for the sake of time, I think we're going to move on to the next slides, if that's okay.
Perfect. Thanks, Kat. I love your comment here, Brett, about how vulnerable and honest you're being about how your first interview at UCSB was a disaster. That so resonates with me because I didn't know when I interviewed at UCSB that there was going to be a group interview. I'd never heard of that. I didn't know what it was. It was a disaster. I don't think I even spoke. So it's really, I think just knowing the environment, it's such a strange human act. Oh, enterprise rent-a-car. Yeah. I hear you. So it really is a skill. And that's one thing I want to emphasize. Kat does an amazing job working one-on-one with students, but at the heart of it, it is a skill. It's not, some might be more comfortable with it, but I think it's something we can all learn. I still get incredibly uncomfortable when I interview. I think most people do, but there are strategies and skills that people can implement to maybe smooth some of those pieces out. Internship Info Month, right, Kat? It's actually this month. We wanted to give you kind of a high-level overview, kind of to just give you a sense of what we do, the program does. So in the fall, we have events in October, and in the spring, we have events in March.
Okay, I'll take over real quick. So in March, this semester, we're bringing a variety. We always try to vary the employers that come, so that way students have a lot of different choices to pick from. So we had Kaiser Roseville, we have the Conservation Corps, Sacramento Regional Conservation Corps, Caltrans is on the way. Trying to think of more off the top of my head, but yes, we always try to have a variety.
Right, Broadway at Music Circus. So we do, it's a always, each semester is a little bit slightly different depending on employer interest and recruitment, but we also try to find, again, employers that are student-centered at the heart of it, but also a variety of programs of study. So it shifts and change. We do have some kind of standing employers that have a very strong track record with our Los Rios students. And that was one of the reasons, like I said, Stacy invited us and was thinking it would be a good time because this month is Internship Info Month. Do we want to show them or should we move on, Kat?
Let's quickly show you. We can go here and I'll just show you everyone who's coming up. I'll close all of these pop-ups. Okay. So Caltrans is on the way. We also have some workshops. So we have Handshake 201, but we did record the presentations for Handshake 101. There was an Internships 101 and 201 presentation. So we have the recordings as well if students aren't able to make the presentations live. These two workshops are really exciting. They're meant as very interactive workshops where students can start to talk about and brainstorm the ways that they would make, sorry, my dogs are barking in the background, but it's a way for you to creatively think about yourself and reflect on what makes you a great employee or potential candidate for a role that doesn't necessarily have to do with your work experience, but all of like your personal experience and what you've gone through. And, you know, maybe some challenges that you've overcome or the different ways that you identify and things like that, that you can put on a resume and also talk about in an interview that helps you to kind of like sell yourself for that opportunity. We have Placer County and we have Jericho Mechanical. So that's a quick preview.
Thanks, Kat. Let's see, next slide. So the program requirements, again, I want to emphasize that it's an instructional program, but it also provides direct services to students. So there's kind of like a couple of facets of it. In terms of enrolling in the class, for certain courses, which sometimes are infused in some career education programs already, like gerontology, human services, there are some programs of study that already have work experience infused. There are some that have it as an option. So ideally, we'd like to have students have a declared kind of focus that they're looking towards. We can work with students who may still be in the exploration phase, but on the whole, usually we have students have at least some sort of identified like meta major, right, Brett, like using our language. We strongly encourage students to enroll in a work experience course. We can unpack that a little bit more for students as to why, particularly if it's an unpaid position, we can get into all the like legal and workers' compensation issues as to why students in certain scenarios would need to register in the course. We encourage students to be in good academic standing, but again, you know, employers, like we showed you in that early slide, like the GPA, maybe for some industries, maybe not ranked as high, right? There are some that are a little bit more strict, but in general, being good academic standing. One of the things that we get questions a lot, right, Kat, is does work experience find students, like does placement? It's kind of a model where we would say, Kat, we think you're going to be good at X company, so we are just going to place you. That is one model. To internships, it's pretty outdated. We do not do placement. There's a variety of different reasons, but ultimately, I think the student has to be in the driver's seat and in charge of the experience of even applying, interviewing, and selection, right? So it really is empowering the student to make that selection and go through that process and decide what's best for them. Students really need to have that kind of done before the class, which is different than most classes, right? There's kind of this pre-work. And then also we offer a 16-week course as well as a second 8-week course, in addition to a summer second 8-week course as well. And that's been pretty consistent for the last 9 years that I've been here. So that's kind of an overview. One of the things we're really close to time that we thought about when Kat and I were brainstorming this group and all of the wisdom and knowledge and experience that you all possess is we wanted to just open it up to any thoughts and recommendations and feedback on topics that you think that we should be mindful of, like outreach or handshake or the impact of work experience. We want to hear from you and see what the student perspective, what we can do better, what we can enhance, maybe things we hadn't thought of before. I don't know how comfortable this is, Brett. This group is, Brett, with kind of being put on the spot for feedback. I'm hoping they are.
We have some natural introverts, but people warm up. So I'll turn it back over to the chair, Silvia, and maybe, oh, there you go.
Oh, Brianna. I see Brianna.
I have some comments I'd like to share about the work experience program, maybe because I've had a lot of success with it. I started interning with American River College's Design Hub my first semester at ARC, and so that's a big work experience program I've been a part of. It's given me a lot of nice experience in programming, and even though it might not be something that I'll do as a career, it's been really fun to just like stretch my creative muscle in that program. And in my first fall semester at ARC2, I went to a few of the career workshops that you all held in October. And through one of the career fairs, I learned about SMUD's internship programs and their scholarship program. And I ended up submitting an application for their scholarship program, and I won it this past summer, which has led into an internship with them this coming summer. And so thank you for all that you do.
That's amazing, Brianna. I mean, you just made my day. I don't know, but that's what our goal is. That's what we want to do, is open up opportunities maybe that are outside of the classroom for students, because there is so much out there outside of the college, and we're that bridge. And I just want to say kudos to you, Brianna, for taking advantage of everything that we offer to you, because I know as a student, I can't imagine how full your plate is. So I just want to acknowledge that too. Thank you for sharing.
It looks like Angie raised.
Oh yeah.
hand.
Hi, I just wanted to say, so I have used Handshake a lot, especially this last semester when I really needed to take a second job. And so I was looking a lot. That's how I got my current job as a peer mentor on campus. So I've actually used it a lot and taken advantage of that program, and I've really liked it. It's given me a lot to look through and a lot to apply for.
That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Since Handshake is newer, it is so nice to hear direct feedback from people who have used it, but also have had success from using it. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and I want to echo that too, because I know the career and pathways, that was one of the a major goal, to have any on-campus jobs posted on Handshake so that all students can see it, right? It was an equity thing in terms of access to the information, because back in the day, pre-COVID, it was walk around and go to the different departments, and it was sort of just a random, like whoever you happen to talk to at the desk, if someone was there. It was just, there were so many variables in terms of if students were getting access to the information and the same opportunities. So I know Brianne over Career and Pathways definitely advocated to have all student positions posted there on Handshake so that everyone could see it, right? And so it's great to hear that feedback, Angie, that sounds like it's relatively easy to use, and that you've been it held your attention. At least it was engaging. So thank you for sharing.
So I know we're at time, and I want to be respectful of everything you need to get through in your meeting. So I just threw up this contact slide. I did transition host duties back to ARC, ASB, so I can't do anything from here. But I just wanted to say thank you all so much for giving us this time to just share information about the work experience program and get to meet you and to share a little bit about ourselves as well. And hopefully we can share our contact information after the presentation too. So if anyone wants to talk to us one-on-one, we're happy to do so.
Yes, and I do want to put out there too that we would very much like to continue to connect with this group. If there are things that you see that either we need to share with this group, because you are a direct kind of one of our main points of like getting the student perspective, but also sharing information with students. So I don't know, Brett, if we can be on a list of maybe potential programs to invite. Or something like that in the future, but we would very much like to continue connecting with all the ASB Senate students, and just kudos for everything that you do to advocate for students, and you too, Brett, for your mentoring that you're doing here, and just helping to develop these students. I think it's amazing. So thank you.
Can I suggest something? Maybe possibly connecting with FYE, first year experience, that connects with all the new incoming students, would be a huge success for you guys.
I could not love that feedback more, because I have absolutely been trying to figure out how we can connect to brand new students. And I thought maybe we have to go through the home bases. I'm not really sure. So thank you so much for that direct feedback.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. As our structure is sort of shifting around, I think that's the other thing, is we're trying to, oh, thanks, Brett. Thanks. We're trying to figure out the best people and way to contact with all our new, I think, more heavily emphasized student-centered like structure, but we're still trying to figure out how we can connect with it too, as students are. So thanks for that feedback, and for letting us know, Brett, that you can connect us with the FYE staff.
Also,
Oh, go ahead.
so one more thing is, I'm Mark Sheppard, by the way. I'm the president of the Clubs and Events Board, so I kind of oversee the events relative on campus. Be more than happy to try to orchestrate an event, an outreach event. So feel free to, we can kind of connect via email, and we can kind of see if we can plan something to just kind of post up and let students know that you guys are available.
Also amazing feedback, because I have tried in the past to outreach to student clubs and organizations, and it can be a little bit tricky just because I think the leadership changes kind of frequently and I never know exactly who to email. So knowing you as the main point of contact is very, very helpful. Would you mind putting your contact information in the chat?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I also wanted to add some programs that I think you can reach out to is EOPNS, TRIO, as well, probably at DSPS. Those programs usually have a lot of students that participate and are most, a little bit probably the more underrepresented. And I think I've heard of work experience before, but I haven't like it hasn't been really like too much out there, only when it's like career month that I've seen. So I think if other students know like, oh, I can take advantage of this opportunity, I think it will help them. So maybe reaching out to those programs as well, like the coordinators. I think that would help you guys as well.
That is perfect timing, Silvia. I just got an email from Martine, the coordinator over at EOPNS, and we are planning to do a presentation there. And we presented to CARE, which is a sub-program of EOPNS for students who are parents and qualify for that program. It is definitely something, in addition to the affinity groups, that we've been doing some outreach to. But I think it's getting what we're trying to figure out in this kind of, I don't know if it's fair to say post-COVID world or just the new world we live in, is to get past the email. I think that's one thing that we're trying to get in front of people, whether that's virtual or in person. So the more feedback like this that we can get, and even connections like Brett and also Mark shared, we appreciate that. We want to be front and center. We want to get connected. So thank you, Silvia, for that comment, that we'll continue to try to connect with those affinity groups and also those specific programs that we have here at ARC. So thank you.
Sylvia, did I miss any? I caught EOPNS, Next Up, and Trio.
EOPNS, DSPS, Trio, MESA is a good one as well. You have a lot of your STEM majors there, and you for sure need an internship to be, competitive nowadays. So that's definitely another group that I would possibly reach out. I'm a STEM major and I'm able to find internships because I'm really adamant at searching them. But I think of those that aren't so much, or don't know how much an internship can help them before they even transfer, I think that would be also a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback and your perspective. We really appreciate hearing from you, not just sharing the information, but hearing from all of you. So thank you for that.
Of course.
So with that, is it fine, Brett, if the permissions were all changed over and we're good?
I think we're good. Yeah. So thank you both for coming, and I'll connect FYE with you all, and I'll see you at the next UCSB alumni event.
Oh, we'll be there. Let us know, Brett. Okay, go Gauchos. Okay. Bye, everyone. Good luck with the rest of your semester.
Bye.
Awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to item 10.2, student petition, return to remote operations. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to discuss item 10.2, student petition, return to remote operations.
Awesome. It has been motioned by Angie. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Brianna. Okay, I think we have a guest, ARC student Ashlee Green. You can go ahead and take the floor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashlee Green. Thank you for allowing me to speak today, and I'll do my best to keep this brief. So a few weeks ago, I created a petition to continue online classes for the remainder of the spring semester at ARC. Now, I can give you a variety of statistics, guidelines, articles, things like that relating to COVID cases, hospitalizations, exposure risks, etc. And I'm sure you could all provide me with some information claiming the exact opposite, right? Because we live in the age of information. And quite honestly, there's way too much of it at our fingertips. So we have so much going on right now, so much information telling us one thing, so much information telling us another thing, that it's extremely difficult to know what to believe. But one thing that I can say that I believe for sure is that we've reopened our campus prematurely. Now, during the past 2 years, a pattern has been created. We see a handful of institutions following COVID guidelines. Then we see attempts to reopen prematurely. We stay open for a little while, and then subsequently we shut back down. For the past 2 years, we have not been able to successfully reopen without having to shut back down in a short amount of time after that reopening. So I believe that this time will be no different, unfortunately. And that's particularly due to the stealth variant. I'm sure some of you have heard about it, maybe you haven't. But there is another variant that has been seen in several states already, including California. Now, no one's really sure how that's going to affect us in the future. They don't know the impact that this new variant is going to have. They don't know if it's more easily transmissible than Omicron. They don't know if it's more impactful on the body, if it's more harmful. They're not sure. And, I think that we've seen this pattern happen time and time again. We've seen at least 3 new variants by now. 2 to 3 new variants by now. So I think we all know kind of how this is going to play out. I'll rephrase that. We can't say that we know how this is going to play out, but if we look historically and we see what's already happened, we can kind of take a guess, right? So I'm not here to debate, vaccine efficacy or whether or not mask works or propagate a fear campaign. I'm here because myself and 200 other students don't feel safe returning to campus, as evidenced by the signatures on my petition. Now, experts are still warning that COVID is still very much an issue, even now as we're relaxing COVID restrictions. I'm aware that the associate student body, particularly the Student Senate, doesn't influence these decisions, but I just felt like it was necessary for me to address this issue here today. So thank you for your time and thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you so much, Ashlee. We appreciate, you coming and speaking on about your concerns. I'm going to go ahead and open it to the floor if there's anyone else that wants to go ahead and just comment or ask any questions. The floor is open.
Chair.
Recognized?
I just had a question for Ashlee about how much support she's garnished so far and at what point they plan on bringing this to the attention of administrators in the district, or what's like the next step after getting the petition, or what the end goal is for the petition.
Thank you for your question, Brianna. As of late, I've gotten a decent amount of support, but I've also gotten a decent amount of pushback, which is completely understandable because, I mean, none of us want to have to interact with one another through a screen. I would much rather be speaking with everyone in person and being able to have that person-to-person contact, that face-to-face contact that we've been deprived of for the past 2 years. So I understand completely where a lot of people are coming from with the with not wanting to continue the remainder of this spring semester online. That being said, a lot of people do want to continue with the spring semester online. So to answer your question, about what my plans are for it in the future, I actually do have a couple of meetings lined up with the president of ARC, Melody Dixon, and then also some of the board of trustee members as well. So this is just some information that I'm going to bring to them. We'll have some discussions. I don't know, maybe we can come to some sort of accommodations because like I said, I recognize that not everybody feels like this is a risk. Not everybody feels like they want to continue with socially distanced learning. And I can understand and completely respect that. So I'm quite honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know what the next steps will be. I'm hoping that we can come to some sort of compromise, something to where perhaps the people who want to remain in person can do that to some effect, or perhaps the people who want to remain online can do that to some effect. I'm quite honestly not sure because I know that it's not just regarding the health and safety of the students, it's regarding a lot of different other things as well. You know, the teachers and how they can effectively teach us what we need to learn when we're taking these classes. Can they best do that online 2-3 years in a row without any sort of, in-person learning? So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer to your question, but I will keep you updated. I can link my petition if anyone would like to sign it. I can link my petition, and I have been updating everyone regularly about just what's been happening with that petition. So that's my answer to that.
I do want to say real quick, Ashlee, that you are going through the correct, I would say, what I would call it, line of authority or direction. I think speaking to our student trustee is definitely a place to start, and just having even that conversation with President Dixon. Because I know there's been a few students as well that have been having some concerns on how things have been operating. And unfortunately, it is like a Los Rios district kind of thing that's happening. So I just want to congratulate you for, doing your due diligence and making sure that you are using your voice, that's very important.
Well, thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate that.
Is there any other questions or comments on item 10.2? Jason?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to comment as I'm not a member, but if I am, I would be interested in seeing the link because the petition sounds kind of interesting. Could provide it in the chat possibly.
Yes, for sure. I'll link it momentarily.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments regarding item 10.2? Awesome. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next item, 11 committee reports. This time is reserved for committee chairs to provide board with brief report on current standing of active committees. I'm not sure if we have any active committees, Brett.
I don't think so, unless any of the councils or ELT met and wants to give a brief update.
All right, it looks like we have no committee reports, so we'll go ahead and move on to item 12, board member reports and announcements. This time is reserved for board members to inform the board about relevant campus-wide events and to report any pertinent committee progress activities. At a time of 3 minutes per report shall be observed. So do we have any board member reports or announcements?
Chair.
Recognized?
Yeah, so I just wanted to share something that is happening since we kind of had a discussion today about internships and getting people on a career path. The Language and People Home Base is going to be hosting a workshop for journalism majors, or anyone who's interested in possibly becoming a journalism major about what doors their degree can open. That is going to be on March 22nd. So if you're part of the Language of People Home Base, you would be able to see that on the home base calendar. There's going to be a flyer posted relatively soon, I believe. It's going to be March 22nd from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And there is a Zoom link available to register and to go to attend the workshop. And I believe that they're going to have the department chair and a former journalism student who is working for Cal Matters talk about the degree and what they've been able to do with it, what you can do with a journalism degree.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angie. Is there any other board member reports or announcements?
Chair.
Recognized?
We're actually going to be having a club day on the 24th of March. So I just wanted to kind of mention that as well. So yeah.
Do we happen to have a time by any chance, Mark?
Brett, I think we clarify. I'm sorry, I don't have my book in front of me. I'm actually remote today.
I have written down, sorry. Too many meetings. 11 to 1. We talked 11 to 2, but I think we settled on 11 to 1. And it will be on ground in front of the STEM Center. So right by that food truck, for those of you that have been on ground, that kind of corridor there. Sorry, Mark, I kind of took over. And as far as we know, I'll triple check, any student can come. Status is not going to be checked at club tables and all that. That's too much. So as long as it's outside, I believe anyone can come, but I will triple check on that.
Did you
Awesome.
say the 24th? Sorry.
Yes, March 24th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Do we have any other board member announcements or reports? I will share real quick, last weekend, ARC, some ARC ship students were in Portland, Oregon, or actually Vancouver, Washington, whatever, something kind of. We were there for a leadership conference. It was really great. Talked a lot about branding yourself. It's a big thing, you know, who you are, what you already know. A little bit about financial literacy, you know, credit, loans, investing, all that good stuff. We had a good time. I do want to share a link real quick on the chat. It is for anyone that's interested in attending the SECNUS conference. There is a travel scholarship that's available. It's open till April 26th, I believe, and you get paid everything: air flight, boarding, registration, I mean, everything. So we were talking about internships, and I think, again, this is a great opportunity if you are a STEM major, any STEM majors, to just really go out there and you know, learn about what's going on in the world, as well as, you know, career fairs. Usually these conferences have career fairs where they have corporate companies or, you know, certain companies where you can find an internship. So definitely suggest you guys check it out. If you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to myself or Brett. I think Brett knows a little bit about it as well. All right, if there's no more board member reports or announcements, we'll go ahead and, oh, go ahead, Mark.
I apologize. So it was, okay, this is a touchy subject, as we all know, about our president, Melanie Dixon. Myself, Brett, and Stacy were contacted by a faculty member. And we are going to be orchestrating a huge banner showing support that, you know, for our African-American students, not just them, but all students, about racism and such. So you know, keep your ears out for an opportunity to come and sign the banner, write positive message, just to let all of our other students be aware that we don't tolerate it, and we're here to support our president. So Brett can probably touch a little bit more in context about it, but just definitely wanted to kind of get the discussion rolling. We should have some more information on exactly what detail that entails. So Brett, if you want to kind of mention a little bit about what myself and Valerie were talking about and what's going to transpire.
Sure. Chair, is that okay?
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
So one of the things, so Valerie is my colleague that works over at the Beaver Food Pantry, Beaver Cares. They really want it to be student-led. So there's you all, and then Sages, peer mentors, some other students on campus to kind of lead this. The big thing is, and it's hard, I know this is recorded and we're trying to keep it a secret from President Dixon. I don't know how well we'll keep that secret, but I don't think she wants the attention on that, but I know it will help support her. It's been an emotional week for her, as you can imagine. So more to come, like Mark said. We just kind of discussed it yesterday at like 3 o'clock. So it's still kind of fresh and new, but just check your email this week, because there'll be a lot of updates I'll have about not only this project, but the event on Monday. So I know weekends are weekends, but if you check your email just every once in a while, I'll try to update you as I know more.
Awesome. Any more board member reports or announcements? Right, hearing seen none, we'll go ahead and move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda.
Just in case if nobody saw it in the chat, they're doing morning announcements. So that's why it's a silent pause. So momentarily. I can't say perfect timing for a meeting. I should play the Jeopardy theme song.
Chair, I know it's announcements are being made where you're at, but if you want to just move it to the chat and ask if there's any public comment, and then they can raise their hand, and then you can kind of acknowledge them via chat.
Sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. That was really long. All right. So do we have any public comment? All right, hearing seen, then we'll go ahead and move to adjournment. So if there are no objections, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 11:44 a.m. Awesome. Thank you, guys.